What's up, everyone? Welcome or welcome back to the Marketing Nomad YouTube channel. I am the Marketing Nomad. Alright, so I thought we could talk today about the different journals that I have and why I have kind of separated out my journals. So up until 2023, I actually had two journals, all right? One was just an all-purpose journal and the second one was my business journal, all right? So right off the bat, I knew that I had to keep these two separated, but what I realized was that my all-purpose journal was too general and I needed to kind of break that down further. So that's exactly what I did early last year. So it's been about 2 years of me following this system, and I have to tell you that it has really made a difference because now there are different sections that I journal about, and I do journal a lot, and just having that separated out has really created that system in my mind as well. All right, so I wanted to share that with you. So up until 2023, there were two journals. One was a business journal, one was the all-purpose journal. Now, the business journal, and we'll get into that in just a little bit, was everything related to my business, my thoughts about it, what I was working through with it, so on and so forth. And even that, I have it a little bit more structured for 2024 and 2025, and I'll get into that in just a little bit as well. Alrighty, so let's get into the first journal that I have for you, which is my mental health journal. All right, so my all-purpose journal, I kind of divided it into three categories. The first category is my mental health journal. All right, so what is the mental health journal in my perspective, or how do I use it? Everything that is in my mind, it goes onto this. This is everything, and everything related to my mental, emotional health goes into this book. Yes, physical health as well, my thoughts about it, how I'm dealing with it, so on and so forth. All right, so basically I make sure that every alternate day, half an hour, I dedicate to this book, and it's there on my calendar as well. Every alternate day, just because I think that it is a frequency that I can keep up with. It is also a frequency that at this point in time, I'm able to be okay with, because in 2019, 2020, 2021, I was journaling every single day. There was just that much that I needed to get onto paper. But given the amount of time that I spend on the mental health journal, like it's half an hour, it's dedicated. I even set an alarm and I'm sitting with my book, whatever comes to my mind, it's on it. And I feel like there's a lot more structure to my life today than it was in 2019. I also feel like I'm doing a lot of other things to help me, keep up, to do my best with my mental, emotional, physical health. So I feel the frequency that aligns to me at this point in time is every alternate day, all right? But it is compulsory. Like, I have to sit with my book open in front of me and I have to sit with it for half an hour. Whatever comes, I just keep writing. All right, so that is compulsory. Whatever the frequency works for you, I would say please take it however you need to. Like I said, in 2019, 2020, there were days where I was writing multiple times during the day because it was just that much of chaos within me, and I really needed to get that out on paper. There is no shame over there. There is absolutely no looking down or no berating yourselves for how many ever times you need to journal. For me, every alternate day is compulsory, but there are times where I reach out for the book even during the days that I don't really have to, and I find myself seeking it out just to write down whatever is in my mind. So every alternate day is compulsory, but if I choose or if I want to, I can really pick it up any other time as well. All right, so that is my mental health journal. It is basically sitting with your mental health journal for a given period of time. For me, it's half an hour. For you, it can be 15 minutes, it could be 45 minutes, it could be 1 hour. Really, it really depends on you, but you have to sit with it for that amount of time. All right, so choose a time frame that you are going to be consistent with. All right, so for you, maybe if you want to start out, it can be 15 minutes. Whatever comes to your mind in that 15 minutes, you're just writing it down. All right, of course, you can extend beyond that if there are certain things that are more heavy on your mind at this point in time, or you're going through some stuff and you really just want to kind of put all your thoughts and your feelings onto paper. You can absolutely do so, but the minimum is 15 minutes. For me, the minimum is half an hour. Just that I'm doing it every alternate day, right? So there's like 2 days worth of things that I want to put on paper, so I keep that time as half an hour dedicated. I can extend beyond that, but minimum half an hour. All right, so that is my mental health journal. Absolutely life transformative. This is something that I have been doing for quite some time in my life now, and I can absolutely vouch that the first 2 books that I have released were based off of my journals as well, the intense journaling that I did, and I was able to write 2 books off of it. I was able to come to a point where, I'm making peace with what's happening in my life, and there's an everyday check-in with myself, or at least every alternate day, but I'm kind of taking 2 days worth, so technically it's everyday check-in. All right, mental health journal, highly recommend. All right, so that's the first one. The second one is my spiritual journal. This one is just a simple 5-subject notebook that I picked up, and I just started writing in it. Now, the reason why I separated out my mental health journal and my spiritual journal is because I realized those were 2 different aspects of my life, and I really needed to get my thoughts separated out. I needed to compartmentalize, all right? And so spiritual journal, let's talk a little bit about what goes into the spiritual journal. So a spiritual journal is usually what I am going through from a spiritual perspective, because in my mental health journal, I am processing my thoughts, my feelings. It's more from a psychological perspective. It's more from a conscious mind perspective that I am dealing with my life and whatever is happening onto it. In the spiritual journaling, it's more of what I feel is going on from a spiritual perspective, what I am going through on a spiritual sense. Like, for example, some people are more sensitive to the moon cycles. There are some people who might be more sensitive to planetary transits. There might also be some people who are more sensitive to the energy shifts in the collective as well. So there are different things that you may actually be affected by that you might not have been very conscious about. And so I am definitely affected by a couple of things, and that is what I track in my spiritual journal. And it is more of understanding what I am experiencing on a day-to-day basis from a spiritual perspective, from keeping energy in mind, keeping frequency in mind, keeping energy dynamics and even collective energy in mind. That is everything that goes onto my spiritual journal. It is very separate from my mental health journal, because that one, it's more from a logical, rational, psychological perspective. This is completely wholly based on energy. It's a completely different mindset that I have to be in when I open this book. All right, and that's one of the reasons actually why I decided to separate the 2 out, because it's different, when you're kind of in your logical mind and your rational mind, and you want to kind of deal with what you're going through from a psychological perspective, and kind of go through self-therapy as well. That's a different mindset compared to a more spiritual mindset of, okay, well, how am I connected to the universe? How is what I'm going through connected to a bigger picture, a higher purpose for what is meant to happen in my life, my soul mission, my soul purpose, so on and so forth. So that is where the spiritual journal comes in, 2 different perspectives. Now, my spiritual journal, it is, I guess I would say, a little bit more freestyle compared to my mental health journal, because my mental health journal, every alternate day, I have to sit with it. It is very compulsory. That is something that I guess I would say it's a non-negotiable for me. My spiritual journal, at least twice a week, is the frequency that I've given myself. And that also, I haven't said like Wednesday and Friday. No, it's whenever I feel the energy shift, I write into this, and usually twice a week I am feeling something, I am kind of experiencing something, and I kind of want to break that down. I kind of want to look at it more from a spiritual perspective, and that's when this journal comes into handy. So I would say the frequency of this is a lot more flexible than the mental health journal, but that's for me. You can absolutely shift it according to your needs. So that's my spiritual journal for me. It is only and only to do with energy, frequency, what I'm going through from a more, I guess, a more higher understanding of what I'm going through or what I'm experiencing. All right. So that's my spiritual journal for you. So that's the difference between the two. Next is my daily reflections. As the word says, it is daily. Every single day, I reflect. All right, now let's talk a little bit about how this is different from my mental health journal. All right, so my mental health journal is more about everything that's on my mind. I just pour it out. It's just for me to dump everything that's on my mind, to have it on paper, and then to maybe go back and work things out as I am going through it. Now, my daily reflections is a little bit different. This is a softer journal, I guess I would say. All right, so what I do for this particular journal is that I choose an oracle card, or if you are not really into tarot and oracle cards, that's completely fine. What I also do is I pick a social media post that felt really good to me, that really resonated with me, and I write my thoughts about it. So it's more about external, like whatever external information I'm getting, I want to take some time to reflect on it. That's the difference between my daily reflections journal and my mental health journal. My mental health is internal to external, but the daily reflections journal is external, whatever external information is outside. And I feel, okay, that's a very beautiful quote. I want to take some time and reflect upon it, take some time to think about maybe how it applies to my life or how I can incorporate that into my life. So it's a lot softer. My mental health journal, it's kind of like going to war, and it's kind of like a battleground for me. But the daily reflections journal is very, very soft, very kind to me. It's more of, okay, well, this information is there on the outside. Let's see how we can gently and very softly implement it to our lives. So sometimes I pick oracle cards for this. That's completely dependent on you. For me, whatever oracle card comes out, I just take it as there's some message in there for me to apply to my life. Let's just take a look. It could also be, oh, this quote was really nice. I have been through something similar in the past. Let's kind of dig up and see how that quote kind of applies to my past, how I can reframe my thought process. It's all very, very gentle, very nurturing. It's a very soft atmosphere that I create for myself when I am journaling or when I am doing my daily reflections journal. This one every single day, but it is just one page. All right, I just write one page. My mental health journal, no restrictions. Sometimes I go 3-4 pages, but there's also a size difference. So there's also a size difference over there. So, but my mental health journal, no restrictions over there. This one page minimum. If I want to go beyond that, I can absolutely go beyond that. But this is where I reflect. I reflect on what I see outside of me and how I can transmute that information, how I can apply that, how I can better my life based on what I see outside of me. This one is how I can better my life with what is going on inside me. Two different things, all right? Now I think you're able to understand why I decided to separate it out, because those were two different things, two different mindsets, two different approaches. Like this one, it's battleground. Like I have to be in battle mode. I have to literally like go in, dig deep, go do shadow work. It's very brutal and I have to be like prepped for it. However, this one, very gentle, very soft. It's just whatever's outside, whatever you're seeing, whatever you like, and you feel like, I want to think more about that, it just goes into this. So there's two very different mindsets that you have to be in, which is why I decided, you know what, that's conflicting a lot with what I'm going through. I'm not able to kind of shift between these two thought processes, these two energies that I have to be in. So I'm going to separate out my journaling, and I decided to split these two up, all right? So that is my mental health. This is my daily reflections one. So either I pull an oracle card, or if there's some social media post that I really like and I want to take some time to reflect. Actually, most of what I reflect, I actually talk to you about it. But yeah, it's a lot kinder, it's a lot softer, but it's more about how do you improve your life very softly, very gently. How can you keep making space to grow? All right. So that is That's my daily reflections journal. All right. My final journal is my business journal. This is something that I have had since the start of my business. All right. Of course, it's been different books. It's looked different, but I have found that I love this particular size. This is really big, but I love this particular size for my business journal. Just that there's a lot that goes on every single day, every single week, every single month. There's a lot of reviewing, there's a lot of thought processes that I need to put on paper. Now, this is very different from my brainstorming business journal. I want to put that out there. That's more of a rough notebook. That's also the same size. Hold on, let me see if I can pull that out for you as well. Hold on. Okay, yes. So this one, okay, it's the same size, it's the same company. Both A4 size, hold on, and both 365 pages. All right, so both of them same size, same company, but this one is different because this one is my, okay. That one is my brainstorming business journal. So everything that has to do with rough notes, my breaking down, if I am kind of doing some creative work on my laptop and I kind of want to brainstorm it on somewhere, that is my brainstorming business journal or notebook, I guess I would say. It's both of them are dotted. I just have a preference to dotted, but this one's more of brainstorming. All right, this one is not brainstorming. I think you can also make out from like the use of it, like this one's a lot rough and tough. All right, whereas this one is a lot it's a lot it looks very neat and professional, like because it looks like I haven't used it a lot, but I actually have. But this one's more of writing my thoughts. All right, this one's more of writing my thoughts. This one's more of brainstorming, and it's very rough and tough. The pink one is very rough and tough, whereas the green one, it's more of, okay, strategizing and figuring out what needs to happen next. I guess I would say there is brainstorming, but it's not rough work. It's very systematic brainstorming. It is setting goals, reviewing my past week, my past month, my past quarter, the past year. I actually have to get to the past year review now. I will be getting to it this weekend. So that is what my business journal is for. It is basically just writing of everything that's on my mind with respect to my business, and also making an intentional effort to review. Now, I usually do this every Sunday. Every Sunday, I review the entire week. I write my entire thoughts about it. But sometimes a lot happens in a given week, so that's really flexible. So sometimes if a lot's happened that particular day, or I've shifted course in my business, or I'm changing a few things in my business, I write down what I'm changing. I just write down the date, write down what I'm changing, and I write down the reason why I am going through with that decision, or why I am making that decision. This is very, very important, because the reason why I have this journal, and I will keep this for a long time, even though I will probably finish the book, is that it's very, very important for you to understand why you made certain decisions for your business. It's not necessarily important to know the decision that you made, because that's going to be proof. You're going to have it right in front of you. But why, your thought process behind it, why did you choose this option and not that option? Or why did you choose something else, but you let go a few aspects of it? There's a thought process behind it. Maybe something worked. Maybe at that point in time you thought this would not work, but why? So just having all of that, accounting for all of that, just putting it on paper is something that I highly, highly recommend as a business owner, as an entrepreneur. It is the most important thing that I do for my business. Writing why you make the decisions that you make, or having it written down somewhere. It doesn't matter if you are going to change that decision in the future, but at least you have a reference point, because the decision that I make today, I probably will not remember why I made that decision 1 month from now. And why do I want to hold on to, okay, I've not written it anywhere, I need to keep it on my mind. Why do I want to give myself that extra pressure, to remember things? Instead, I can literally say it's probably there in my business journal. I just have to look it up. Yes, there's probably a little bit of searching that goes on, but once you know which week that you did it in, approximately which month, you can just flip to that part of your journal and you have it right there. All right, so it's very, very important. Maybe in another video, we'll talk about business journal and go a little bit deeper into what I write in my business journal, what's very important for me to put it on my business journal. But I feel it's probably the most important thing in my business journal, why I make the decisions that I make. And what are those decisions? This is what goes in my business journal. Yes, I do also write my thoughts, my feelings about what is going on with my business. I also kind of do a little bit of strategizing, a little bit of future planning, review future planning. That all goes with my business journal. Every single week, Sunday, this is my only job. I don't do anything else other than plan and review. All right, it is very, very important. It's a very important system that I have set up for myself that way. Now, the brainstorming journal, or I guess I would say it's a notebook where it's just brainstorming, before I can actually write it as a clean strategy. So this is basically where all my rough thoughts go in. This, I probably will discard it after it is kind of done, because whatever is in this, there's a cleaner, more structured version of it in my business journal. So this is more of the pre-starting point, or the starting point, or pre-strategy point, where I realize, okay, something's off. I gotta put my thoughts onto paper, and then it's all a mess, absolute chaos. And then from there, I structure it into my business journal. So my business journal is very neat, very, I guess I would say very structured in what I've written in it. So those are the journals that I do have for myself. Like I said, I thought it was very, very important. Like right off the bat, right after I started my business, I knew I had to separate out my mental health journal and my business journal. And then 2024, beginning of 2024, I realized I needed to kind of split my mental health journal into more categories, because there was different thought processes, different energies that I needed to be in to write and to make sure that it was helping me as well. So these are the journals that I do have. And of course, I have my, this one's a little bit different, but these are the journals, all right? So the writing aspect of it. Of course, my planners, I have separate ones. We'll talk about that in a different video. But planners are different, but these are my journals, all right? So I just wanted to have one separate video where I talked about my journals and the different journals that I do have. I would say, if you find yourself in a different energy, writing different aspects of your life, I would say break it down into smaller journals or different categories of journals, just that you will not be switching into different mindsets when you're picking up. And like I know if I'm really stressed out mentally and I'm really struggling with what I'm going through, I just know which book I have to pick out. And if I just, saw a really beautiful social media post and I just wanted to reflect on it, then I also know which one to pick up. If I'm going through something that's a big energy shift and I know there's something deeper about what I'm going through, something that I need to explore deeper about, I know which book to pick up. And if there's something about my business that I'm going through, again, I know which book to pick up. So it's just having that clarity. It's just keeping it all separate so that you are able to understand what you need for yourself at that point in time, rather than an all-in-one. Because it wasn't working for me, especially the all-in-one, like the spiritual, the daily reflections, and the mental health was in one book at one point in time. It wasn't working out for me because it was too many different things that I was going through. And even as I was reading through the pages, it was very conflicting energy. I was not able to keep up with it. At least now I know spiritual means I have to be open to all the messages that are coming through, what's happening. It's a different mindset. And I'm in a different zone when I'm reading through my past entries of this. And then this one also, like I said, it's softer, it's kinder, it's gentler. It's very, just very flowy with what I see outside. So it's external to internal, whereas the mental health journal, I have to be like in battleground, like literally with an armor to go back to my past entries and kind of, evaluate where I am, review, take a look at it, understand it deeper from like maybe a psychological perspective, maybe from just like a feelings and thoughts perspective, so on and so forth, logical, rational mind, so on and so forth. So that's my mental health journal. So there's like different variations of how I need to show up for each of those journals. So I thought it was just better to segregate. This started out beginning of 2024 and it's been about 2 years. I can highly vouch for splitting up my journals into different categories, just that it feels a lot smoother on my end, and I just know which one I have to pick up depending on what I'm going through. All right, so that I think honestly has just reduced a lot of brain fatigue. You might think that having everything in one book, I feel, in my perspective and my experience, I felt like it was actually causing a lot more mental chaos within me. And now I just know which one I have to pick. So it's not necessarily decision fatigue. No, not, I don't really have that. I just know which one to pick. But I feel like there was more mental chaos when all of it was together. And even as I was writing and looking at the previous entries, it was very conflicting because sometimes I was in a softer energy. Sometimes I was like, oh, I need to, there's so much I'm going through. I need to put it all out. So even that, just having separate journals for it, it's really helped me, and I wanted to share that with you. I want to let you know the update because I've talked a lot about journaling, and I do journal a lot. And you might ask, okay, well, how much time per day are you spending per journal? I would say minimum half an hour, given we have the mental health journal. And for me, I think it's very, very important. I think that it is very important to journal because it gives me that mental clarity. It gives me that sense of direction. It also provides some kind of structure and routine to me that I, as a person, me, need to rely on, or I prefer relying on it. It gives me that stability that I need as well. So I would say every alternate day, I have my mental health journal. So the days that I'm not really doing my mental health journal, maybe I am doing my spiritual journal. It's kind of like that. So that it kind of balances out. Very rarely am I doing two together. Yeah, very rare I'm doing two together. Daily reflections, maybe sometimes it's just pulling out a card or whatever on social media. So it's a lot gentler. So it doesn't feel too much. And I don't really spend too much time on it. It's just one page. So maybe like 10-15 minutes on it. So yeah, maximum 2 journals I'm writing at a time. And Sunday, it's only for my business journal. If I'm struggling with something and it's like a worst case scenario, then maybe, yeah, my mental health journal. But even that, no, Sunday is like solely reserved for my business journal. That I spend a good amount of time. But of course, that is more, I'm reviewing the previous week. I'm kind of taking into consideration what I'm feeling at this point in time, my thoughts, strategies, so on, and then future planning. So that takes a good chunk of my time. But other than that, maybe max 2 journals a day that I'm doing, that also not too long. One is maybe 10 minutes maximum. The other one, yeah, my mental health journal, but that's every alternate days of half an hour. Right? So not too long, or at least in my perspective, it's not too long. Like I said, you can absolutely set your own time limits for it. You can set when you want to do it. Maybe you want to alternate daily reflection. Maybe then it won't be daily reflection, then it'll be alternate day reflection. So you want to alternate between mental health and your reflection. That's completely on to you. All right. So this is where I will leave you for today. These are my journals. I will probably get into my weekly planners in just a little bit. Maybe I'll take some time and I'll walk you through my process of maybe how I set up for the week, how I set up for the month, so on and so forth. Yeah, I think I'll make some plan for that as well. Alrighty, I really hope that this gave you a good starting point to see what works for you, to see journal routine that also you can start for yourself. And you don't have to jump directly to 3 different journals. No, you can take it one at a time. I started out with 1 and then I decided, this is not working out. Then I split into 3. But I was on 1 journal for my mental health for about 3-4 years. And then I decided to split it. So, and actually, even before that, I used to journal a lot, like even through my teen and my early 20s. But I just used to have 1 book. So it's only in the past 2 years that I've decided to split it up. So see what works for you and then decide your course of action, right? Okay, and so yeah, that's about it. I really hope that this video helped you in some way. If it did, please do give me a thumbs up, hit that subscription button, hit that notification bell, because that tells you every single time I do upload a YouTube video. I'll catch you in my next one. Take care. Bye-bye.